Hello, we're live. I think we're live. Teb, you look frozen, which is always a concern. How you doing? Oh, you muted.
Yeah, you muted me. Why?
I muted you while the 30-second countdown was on because I was like, you'll do something stupid here.
No, that does make sense, but my shows don't normally have countdowns, so I don't have the budget for that. So,
You got the same software, you prick.
oh yeah, sorry.
So yeah, and maybe it's a training issue. Anyway, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining. We got a lot to talk about on this session in this rundown. This is my first rundown that I've done ever since we branded it to rundown. This was Tebbs and Dom's thing, and Dom going through a transition to female, so she's got a bit of time off, hasn't she?
Yeah, bless her.
So yeah. Anyway, so tonight we're like, or this evening, or however you want to look at it, we're going to look at Uniball week 30. You can see it scrolling on the bottom. So all the games that happened yesterday. I was going to say all the drama, but there wasn't much. But there's certainly some talking points. We will have a look at week 14 as well. See if there's any juicy fixtures. Teb loves his what's it? The BAFACL news flash. That's your thing.
I certainly do.
The news flash.
Not too much on the BAFACL news flash, but still some.
Yeah, we'll have a look at it because I must admit I do like the BAFACL news flash. Definitely, they're definitely aiming for semi-pro when they're amateur. Like that. Like that. That's how I feel. It's a bit OTT. But anyway.
Yeah, but isn't that just all? That's just all. No.
I didn't hear what you said there, and you sound like a robot. Isn't that what?
I said, isn't that all of Britball? No.
Nah, Britball's amateur, right? I think everyone knows that. There's a few semi-pros out there. There's a few people that are genuinely paid to play under the counter sort of thing, but we're amateur. This is an amateur.
That's not what Love Island. That's not what Love Island said. Love Island told me I could be earning 30k a year.
Oh mate, Blitz B, 30k a year.
Yeah,
that was quality. Yeah,
I'm waiting. Who's Valley? Send me the check.
And then we've got so we will talk about the NFL a little bit, even though I'm out of my depth talking about the NFL. You lot, but you Oz. And anyone else involved in Gridiron Hub. I know how to play the game and watch it and enjoy it. I don't know who's who and what the records are. I do know that I'll watch some games over the weekend, and I don't mind talking about those games. But and then we also want to talk about the alignments for the year. That's been a bit contentious. We are going to just look at the adult kitted. Although I've had people messaging me, a few different people messaging me privately and through Gridiron Hub, saying that we should also look at I think it's the under-19s. Apparently they're grossly unfair, but I haven't looked at it yet. But that's something I'll do. And they came out an hour ago. The fixtures. I've already done 2 of the graphics, so those are up on Gridiron Hub. We'll pull those up. We'll try and have a look through the other fixtures, but it's hard. The views that we get on League Republic are a little bit. It's tougher to sort of see how thick and fast the games are coming, but we'll do our best. So that's what we're going to get into. Feel free to say hello in the chat and say your opinions, ask questions, all that sort of stuff. Teb's got his hair out. What are you trying to do? Are you using the live stream as a mirror?
It's just a bit annoying. It's because I don't want people knowing that I've got a mullet, but the hat's quite uncomfortable.
Okay. Well, cat's out the bag there, mate.
Yeah, What
you've revealed. No one's going to do anything, but they never were. But anyway, so where do you? Oh, we got a comment coming in. Look at that already.
Did Tebbs get his broadband?
Did Tebbs get his broadband from a Christmas cracker? Yeah, I I did mention to him, "This is awful." I don't know. We'll try and get through it. His audio's working fine. He's just a little bit sketchy. Frankie's
Yeah, I don't know. He's right.
trying to mug me off with my hair here. You're jealous he has hair. I've got hair. Just I've got a ridiculously large hairline to go with it. So fuck off, Frankie. Right. Anyway, where should we start? Should we start? Let's start with. Actually, let's start with it. Do you mind starting with the BAFA news flash?
No, go straight for it. Go straight for it. We've got.
Right. I'm going to share my screen because I like having some visuals. My screen share will probably knock you off of the live stream.
Oh, 100%. Just tell me if
you can't. Right, there we go. Right,
it'll be fun.
No, yeah, the audio, mate. So, first thing, I just want to go through on the news flash. Actually, do you want to talk through highlights? Because you love scouring news flash for
there's
like standout comments,
week, don't you? Like first week back, there's not too many. You know, there's the classics of a few people have been ejected. They've been barred for their next games. There's
I'll go through the ejection. I was more thinking about the game management reports that you like
the reviews.
You like to take focus on.
There's only really one out there that's outstanding to me, and that's Liam Wotton's just well marked pitch. You know, it had some other markings, but well marked. I thought this was a place for the refs to complain.
Immortals. Well, you said they. I like what you said before about them treating it as like a trip advisor for other refs. So, like
it is.
They're leaving another review. Oh, well, I don't want to go there. They ain't got no changing rooms. They won't give me a key to the changing room.
It's like train spotting. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna love these markings, Steve. They have some class markings up at Kiel."
Yeah, it is an odd thing for them to publish, but right, but they do post rules updates, and I quite like looking at those. The ones this week, the first one I want to look at is the second one that he's written, which is tinted visors. They put a quick reminder that there's no medical exceptions. Apparently, I think there used to be a medical exception for this, but no medical exceptions to Rule 146C, which prohibits tinted eye shields or visors. Under no circumstances should a crew allow a player to play wearing one. The ability to see their eyes is both a safety and a competitive advantage issue. So I
read the one above.
I just think I just want to talk about that. I just think surely we can get over tinted visors, can't we? Like, do you know what? Right, when I first started playing hundreds of years ago, visors were like they were a pain in the ass, right? Because you had to remove the lid to remove the visor. But from what most lids now, I've got like even quick release, not just quick release visors if you want them, quick release face masks. So you can just take the thing straight off. So I just don't get this issue. Like, what do they think people are like? I think if someone's eyes are rolling, you're going to have other things that they're going to be doing, like they're going to be moving around or they're going to be a bit lethargic or whatever, right? Like I don't see them unless it's like they've got bloodshot eyes because they've done loads of ecstasy before they came out. Like I don't get the point of it. Competitive advantage, I just think, well, it's fair game, isn't it? You know, like you can wear a visor. Do you know what? If I want, I'll wear one too. Like I just don't see the problem with visors. And I don't know. I'd like to hear your take on it. Huh?
I think the British leagues it's because the British leagues, like, no one. Like, what is the percentage of people who have like a new helmet? It's probably not going to be that big. So like they can't have like the quick release visors because their helmets are from like 18.
You think because we're so behind the times with our equipment, our rules have to stay behind the times as well.
Like comparatively to well, no, obviously not, but comparatively to the NFL, like they probably get a new helmet every game probably, so like they can have stuff that's quick release because it's state of the art. State of the art is a thing. Mate, in Britball.
I've got a lid. My lid I got in 2008, so that's 14 years ago. 2008, yeah, 2008. I got it, and that's got a quick release on it.
Oh, all right then. Yeah,
Like,
what is it?
how old are you talking here? Because they're like, sorry, what'd you say? What is it?
Well, yeah, what is yours?
It's a Speed, a Riddell Speed.
Right. People, even 2008 Speed Flex, you know,
No, it's
still
not
gonna be
Speed
better than
Flex. It
some
was
of
just
the
a
like
Speed.
Rawlings.
It's just a Speed.
Yeah, but they're still gonna be better than they're still gonna be better than the Rawlings Impulses that most unis have.
Hey, look, Russ has made a point. Steve, believe it or not, most medics don't at games don't carry the tools to. Yeah, I'm not saying a medic would, but surely Russ, surely like a kit manager or someone that's got, you know, from every team I've played on has had a toolbox of like little bits and pieces to fit kits and a pump and all that. Surely you just chuck one of them little things in there and that's it. And you know, if you're trusting enough, Russ, you could hand that to the medic, or you could do it for them yourselves. It's up to you. I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but I don't see the problem with tinted visors. I just think it's a weird rule. It's a rule for the sake of it. Same with like knee pads. I know
I'm surprised
there's always no. Russ has commented. No one else has.
No. I mean,
maybe they will.
Commented, well, there's no sun in it. There's no sun in England. We don't need tinted visors.
Well, yeah. Well, it's not about the sun. I'm not like it's like again a competitive advantage. I can't see where you're looking. That's one thing. It can be used as like an intimidation thing. Like, you know, you look more scary if you've got a tinted visor on. Just part of the general swag. You're just taking all that away from the game, and I don't like it. But I do respect the rules, and you won't see me wearing a tinted visor. But I just think it's the same thing with like the knee pads. They make you wear knee pads that cover your knees, and you're like, is that going to stop? You know, is that going to stop me hyperextending my knee when someone plants a helmet on it? Because it didn't when that happened to me. Like, yeah, the only thing a knee pads have was like stop you grazing your knees on the hard grass in the summer. Anyway, so you wanted me to read the other one, which was flagrant personal foul. I haven't actually read this yet, so I'll read it here. So, we've received reports of players grabbing. Are you joking me? I wish why didn't I start with this?
You too. I just saw the genitals. I'm like, yeah, this is it.
We have received reports of players grabbing opponents by their genitals while involved in a pile-up. Oh, I saw this happen on the live stream yesterday. I wonder if that's what it's related. Was this released yesterday or today? No, actually, so this is 5 days ago. It was released and it's happened since. And, right, let me finish reading what they said. So we've received reports of players grabbing opponents by their genitals while involved in a pile-up. This is obviously conduct that is beneath contempt. If any official witnesses such act, not only should a personal foul be flagged, the foul should be considered flagrant. Yeah, absolutely, and the defender disqualified. It's sexual assault. Like that. Let's call it what it is. Yeah. There was a. I don't know if you know, but like a few years back, there was a professional rugby player. He got banned from the sport for pulling out an opponent's shorts and sticking his finger up his bum. It was on camera. So yeah, that happened yesterday. Frankie said that. I saw it, Frankie, on one of there was a few live streams. I think it was your game, Frankie, Yui, and it was right in front of the camera, and they did a slow-mo replay of it, not of the play, not of the offence, because I was like, did I just see that? And then they showed it again in slow-mo, and the commentators didn't pick up on it. The geezer, like, there was basically like all I basically saw was like a big fat bum, and then this geezer's hand was like in it, like, and then he pulls it out. So yeah. So I just, how prevalent? Sorry, you probably lost me for a second. How prevalent is this issue if BAFRA have to put it in their news flash one week, and then we actually see it happen in one of the few games that are live streamed? Is it? Is there this? Is there like a you're the players and the culture than I am? Is there this like? Is there a funny game going on between the Uniball players where they're just like, right, I'm gonna grab his balls, or like, what's happening here, Tebbs? Can you explain this?
Well, probably not on the opposite team. No, I'm joking. I don't know. I think it's just people are like looking for any sort of advantage they can, or I'm hoping that's what it is. Like that's like
Fucking
a very quite innocent answer.
It's like if you're if you're the most scared in your life. Yeah, Frankie said, yeah, the player didn't mention it. We just saw it on the stream after. And Russ has come back and said, yeah, some teams do carry the tools. I'm with you, Steve. I don't see the problem with tints. Some players are so ugly they need to wear one. Don't get me started on the William Wallace face paint. Oh, I love all the intimidation stuff, but yeah, we'll try and move on. But yeah, really, I'm just really surprised by this. I can't wait. Have we actually had people ejected for this yet? No. Doesn't look like we've had anyone on an ejection yet, but I'm looking forward to that happening. I just think that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in Britball. Right, okay. Well, let's move on. Teb, have you got anything else you wanted to add?
Okay, Britball, we've got Britball now. Stop grabbing other people's genitals when you're playing, all right? I think we've gone past the warning stage. Stop it.
We marked your collar. Right. Yeah, that was God, I really wasn't expecting to go into that when we started. Right, so let's go into week 13. Results yesterday. What stands out for you, Tebbs, from yesterday?
I think easiest when I saw this result, and that is Nottingham Gold 25, Durham Saints 21. When I saw that, I was amazed because Durham Saints were, the second in that division. They started off not particularly hot, but they've come back now and given Nottingham Gold their closest game, which realistically, it's put a dent in the armour of the Nottingham Gold when the Gold inevitably face the Bullets. But the Saints, that's a victory for the Saints. I'm concerned.
Did they not show grit by coming back and winning the game? Like, is there nothing in the fact that they've had their backs against the walls and come back, or do you just think it's like they've shown a weakness and now the Bullets are just, out in front favourites?
I don't think so. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be as bad as the Bullets' sort of damage to their own division. But I just find that really interesting because the Gold was on that level. They were on the same level as the Bullets, but with this game with Durham, obviously it shows grit and determination to come back. But even still, that's like it seemed like there was a massive gulf in the Prem between the number one and everyone else. But it seems to be that in both Prem divisions, not as prevalent.
No, yeah, I think that's a fair statement. But are there not other factors at play here, or are you just not letting them have it? That there's, they've had some time off, they might have put a little bit of Christmas weight on, and not a bit rusty. They haven't been practicing as much. You're taking out your stride a bit with this Christmas break, aren't you?
I'm still impressed with Goal. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just like if I was Durham Saints, I wouldn't be hanging my head fully low on the coach ride home.
I don't know. Well, I think those sort of losses are probably they really punch you in the guts. When you've been leading most of the game, I don't think they took the lead until that was the first time they took the lead, from what I understand. I might be wrong in that, but I'm fairly sure that's what I read on Instagram last night on one of the posts was that was the first time they took the lead, and it was like with seconds left on the clock, and it was like a 4-minute drive that they did in the last 4 minutes to get them there. So I know from losing a European game in literally the last play of the game, which was a it was a play that was replayed because we had a defensive penalty, and then they scored on the next play. It's completely demoralising. We didn't finish that. We didn't leave that game. We felt that we threw it away rather than did our best and kept up with a better team. So I don't know. I don't know. I just want to win. Like, that's how I play, So maybe my mentality is not one that's shared by many. But this is like, we are talking about the Premier here, and I'd like to think that everyone in that in those teams is hungry to win.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Unlike you and your Div 2. What is it? Midlands Div 2 buddies.
Why don't you shut up? All right, we'll get into the mid 2. All right, we'll get into the middle of Div 2.
So I definitely think there's a talking point there. Oh, mate, there's only one other. Well, there's not only one other, but there's one that sticks out and has stuck out and has had more attention than anything else, and that is the game that had 0 points scored by either team.
Hertfordshire Hurricanes, Royal Holloway Bears.
I just can't believe it.
Simple question: how?
They're both decent teams. Like, they're not. This is Div 1 level. You've got Hertfordshire Hurricanes, who have been a Premier League team for a while. They've been national champions. The Bears have just been good, like, year on year, and improving. I went and watched them. They're like sort of my local team. I just don't know how they stalemate. And
it's one of the most impressive things this year, Red Bull, 100%. I was tempted to message you, like, have you not put the scores in? But, it's...
I think you did message me. Was this score? Oh, no, it wasn't you. It was Hatch. He posted the score post, and he was like, is this one right? You've got one as 0-0. And I was like, yep, that's correct. Jack's just give us a little bit of insight.
Yeah,
it's Jay. Well, I was going to say Jay Met is because one of the coaches, Jordan Metcalf, is a mate of mine. He played with me at the Knights and known him for years. And if he's watching, he could give us a bit of insight. I was going to message him, but I thought, I don't want to upset him. But Jack said 3 missed field goals. Who were they missed by? Like, is it the same team? Is it obviously if it's split, there's 2 and 1, right? But it'd just be good to have a little bit of insight into that game. Like, was it actually a good game? Was it just boring? All Hearts. All 3 of them were for Hearts. So is this a case of, like, the Bears defense actually doing a good job, the offense just not firing and being able to do anything, but the defense held well enough, The other thing that strikes me when people have been talking about this game, I messaged Jordan about it earlier. This is David Francis. I messaged Jordan about it earlier. He said it was a good game. Yeah, cool. Both D's balled out. So, well, the other thing is, right, people are mentioning special teams, and anyone that sort of knows me knows I've got a thing for special teams, like punting, punt returning, kicking, kick return. Like, they're so big in the game, and obviously there was only 2 kickoffs in this game because there was no points, but surely there were certainly special teams for the field goals, but surely there was punts and stuff, and it'd be just that's another area of the game that sort of cancelled each other out, right? Like, there was nothing there, and I'm just quite interested in understanding more about it. But I think
Holloway's record is now 2-1-2.
Have they got 2 draws? Was it an 8-all draw that they did? I remember them doing a draw. Let's check. 14-all. 14-all against the Stingers. And these two, when do they play again? No, they don't. Royal Holloway.
Yes, they play on the 27th of February.
Why have I missed that? On the what? On the 27th?
February.
No, that's the Stingers and the Bears.
Oh, sorry, I thought that's what you meant. No, I think Hertfordshire and Royal Holloway have already played.
No, sorry. Oh, yeah. To the first round, the Bears won 26-17. Second time round, it was 0-0. But there's been people like on our Instagram saying, "Oh, these guys should not play," and just like proper giving them stick about it. But yeah, just a really, I don't know that I've ever seen a 0-0 in any game of American football. Have you ever heard of a 0-0?
Honestly, no. Like, I
No.
think who at some point over the last year doing this stuff, but that's the lowest I saw.
I've been involved in a 6-0 and we lost. That's painful. But yeah, interesting. And what else was there? Oh, I think it's definitely worth a shout out. Bournemouth Bobcats, they won their game 26-8, so a nice win. So nothing really massive there, but they secured their divisional championship with that. They've gone undefeated so far. So yeah, they did well. Oh, we go. So someone has said, I just mentioned the Bobcats, but this is the other Bobcats. And Kent Exiles drew 0-0 a few years ago at under 19. Man, that's mad. I noticed there was a lot of.
I think another one. 4-0.
No, did they? Chris Breen said we had one this year with Clyde Valley and the Stags. Oh, okay. They're a bit more common, unfortunately. Look at Fursman calling them the Pellets. Where is it? There it is. Pellets lost to Bar Spa 4-0 last year. So that's 2 safeties. That's crazy. Russ has said, we missed 4 attempts at field goal. And when got close to their end zone, just couldn't convert. And they offered nothing, just ran the ball. So the clock ran constantly. Or constantly ran. Oh, okay. Yeah, mental. Okay. Yeah, crazy. But something I've noticed in Britball, in Uniball this year, but it stuck out yesterday was there's a lot of shutouts. I'm not just talking about the 0-0, the double shutout. So there was one in the Prem, the Bullets 62-0 over Cardiff. Midlands 1, Warwick 47-0 over Leicester. What? Oh, what? The UE one isn't a surprise.
The UE one not a surprise. Like Leicester's realistically not too much of a surprise because Leicester just haven't been doing particularly.
Edinburgh Hull 20-0. That one. I'd have had the Sharks down to score a few points.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is a talking point.
But no, it's like
40-0. Sorry, mate. Did you hear this one about the Edinburgh Napier Knights? They won 40-0 against the UWS Pyros yesterday. Do you know what happened in that game?
Tell me what happened in that game.
So the game was called early by the Pyros. They're like, we're done. They called it 3 minutes into the second quarter. We don't. Yeah. So they were 40-0 down headed into the second quarter. So there must have been points on all sides of the ball for the Knights to be able to get 40 that quick, right? But that's what happened. Honestly, and obviously you don't go running.
I love that division.
What, the Borders 2? Or Div 2?
Yeah, mate, because no, sorry, Borders 2, because like I think it's the last game of the season for the Tigers, who are undefeated, and then the second to last game for the Knights, who are undefeated. They've got each other. And honestly, if I could go and see that game, I would.
Yeah. But the Pyros are awful, and they've been awful for years. And I don't know, and this is speculative, but I was thinking about it. We don't record this stuff, and I might figure out a way of starting to record this on the website. I'm fairly sure the Pyros haven't even finished the game this season. They've called all of their losses early.
See, that I don't know. That is something that you would have to check.
I know, and I just can't be bothered. Again, I'm saying I'm speculating, but it just sort of struck me last night, and I was sort of thinking about it. I don't know that the Pyros have actually finished the fixture yet this year. I need to start capturing that, because there's always injury delay, rained off, etc. And we never capture that in our data. We need to start doing that. Ayab's come up and said Portsmouth Hearts was very close to being 0-0 this year. Hearts scored in the last 40 seconds. Oh, cool. So 0-0 is a bit more common than I realised. Just
haven't we got some teams who pulled out as well? 2 teams who've pulled out.
So yeah, there is. So the Mud Dogs have pulled out, and the Legion,
And
the Chester Legion, and there's rumours that the UEL Phoenix are pulling out. They had a game against the Mariners yesterday, and it didn't happen. And there was no there's some teams that you just don't get any information out of, and those two are both teams like that. So, I'll message them and I'll ask them stuff, and I don't get anything back. So yeah, I just have to go off Bucks Play, and Bucks Play still hasn't got any information other than there was a fixture, but it doesn't have a walkover or anything. And there was a game yesterday. So, and I didn't know this until today, and I haven't posted about it, but there was Midlands 2, which is your favourite division, isn't it? Is it Midlands 2
exactly
you like?
It is Midlands 2. It is Midlands 2.
The God's division or something you call it. But anyway,
God's division. It's like God's favourite division.
So that's. I think it was the Chester Legion were in that division, so they've left God's division.
They are.
But also, there was a game scheduled between Huddersfield Hawks and the Kill Crusaders, and right before kickoff, Huddersfield messaged Kill to say, "Oh, we're not coming." That's what I was told. I haven't posted about it.
Best division.
Yeah, so you're and I'm pretty sure they've had some forfeits in that division, so it's an awful division. But
they have. I think it was has forfeited to someone. Lincoln, no forfeits. Staffordshire, no forfeits.
I don't care, but the only reason I raised that, one is because it's talking about, but two, it may be another team, a fourth team that are in jeopardy in the Huddersfield Hawks. I don't know. They were like one of the worst scoring teams. I did the like mid-year who's scoring the most, who's scoring the least, and conceding the most and conceding the least. And I'm pretty sure Huddersfield were in the top 5 of the wrong end of both of those stats. Frankie has just popped up and said, Tebbs, your data may be better on your phone than your Wi-Fi. He's probably not wrong. You might want to drop off and join on your phone if you want. If they're saying it, it probably is that. Eh?
StreamYard, send me the StreamYard link and I'll do it on my phone.
All right, mate. Hold on. Let me just put it in the chat.
I don't know why.
Can you get it out of the chat, or do you want me to? I'll put it on Facebook actually.
Yeah, put it on Facebook.
Yeah, Messenger. There you go. Cool. So yeah, I think that's everything. The sort of. Oh, actually, one other sort of. I'll talk about it while you're gone. But another point that I think was quite interesting that sort of stuck out to me yesterday. The Exeter Demons played SGS Pride, and it was a shutout. So the Pride didn't concede any points again. But they only managed to score 38, which is lower by their standards. I think they average around 50 a game or 48 a game. So Exeter arguably are probably their toughest opponent in that division, and that shows. It just sort of, it must be quite frustrating for Exeter because it's, the Pride had to go in somewhere, right? Like they couldn't go Div 2. It was a right decision. You probably couldn't put them in the Prem because people would have kicked off. They go into Div 1 and the next best team are like probably, that's a pain in the arse. That's 2 losses and, we could have had a much better season. So you got to feel for Exeter a little bit there. But I just thought that was quite interesting. I always think the Pride are good for a 50 burger, they were held to a degree. So yeah, right. While we wait for Teb, what else should I talk about? We'll wait for Teb to talk about the fixtures next week and the NFL because he knows way more than me. I do want to talk about the alignments in Britball. So I will. Let me bring that up. So let me add that to the stream. So I made these. I think so. You guys may have seen them. I made these. Well, let me just get rid of Frankie's message. I made these maps on Google Maps to sort of show the different areas of the. This one's Prem and Div 1, and then this one's Div 2. I couldn't fit them all on one; it wouldn't let me. Yeah, Tebbs coming back in. Hello, mate.
Hello. Look much better.
Yeah, look at that. Frankie's a
Already.
genius. Sign him up.
Oh, don't. I wanted to talk about this.
Okay, cool. Perfect timing. Well, which? Oh, you want to talk about the thing? Sorry, let's go back to that then. Pardon me.
Was that the SGS Pride game?
Yeah. Go on.
I saw that and I'm like, that is mad for Exeter Demons to to hold them to that. I was very surprised.
Yeah. That's what I said. It's sort of
I'm not going to say anything about SGS Pride maybe having too many Christmas dinners because they will come to my house and they will beat me up. But they still won the division straight up and down. But
you can't knock the Pride, mate. They're too good.
You can't knock the Pride.
They're
amazing. And when they come up to Prem, it's going to be amazing. But Exeter Demons,
well, they're a Prem South team, and if all signs are pointed towards UE as being the champions, right? For the what's that? A three-peat for them. But obviously UE and Pride that's pretty much a derby game, right? They're right, right next to each other, same part of the world. So not only is arguably two of the best, you can't give Pride full credit for being the best yet. They need to prove it. But two of the better teams as a derby match, and we'll see it twice in a season. It'll be awesome.
That'll be one that I hope is streamed everywhere.
Pride had 2 TDs called back as well from Darren.
Actually, before we move on, I need to just say something. I'm sorry about what I said. 3 feet, because Steve, you'll never guess who went out and won again after I said that their season was over. Portsmouth Destroyers.
Yeah, well, that was one of the stupidest things you've ever said.
It was.
Why did you were like, oh, their season's finished? But then Dom agreed with you. It weren't like he did, didn't he? I'm pretty sure you were both like, yeah, cancel them. They're done.
Yeah, and now look at me. I have to apologise week on week.
Yeah. Well, you should.
And rightfully so.
People were like messaging us about it on social media. Mostly people from the Destroyers and I just kept messaging them saying, because you're their motivation.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's more so that
you wrong has really motivated them, which is I think their coaches will probably be thankful.
I think it's if they make playoffs, I have to go down to Portsmouth and watch the game. So I mean,
I'll come with you. I used to live right around the corner from where they play.
No, perfect.
And also, my mum lives down there.
Yeah, before we move on from Uniball, DMU have proven have shown that.
Oh yeah, DMU. That's another one.
Midlands 2 is seemingly going to be their division. I did the rankings probably before Christmas, and due to games being postponed or games being cancelled, DMU had only played 1 game. They'd won 2 games. One was a walkover, but they beat Staffordshire 50-6. That's why they weren't ranked. I think after this game they'd definitely be ranked because they've beaten Notts Green, they've beaten Staffordshire. But this week they have got a team. They've got the team.
They've got the Gloucestershire Gladiators.
No. They've got
Lincoln.
I'm going to watch that game. So, and the worst part is that, I really wanted to say stuff about DM2.
Mate, that's coming. Whatever. I think your phone's going off. It's right by the.
Yeah, for some reason,
of course, it is the phone, isn't it?
No one phones me.
It's all right.
No one phones me until right now.
That's a lovely angle. They're only phoning you because you're on here. But yeah, DMU. I'm pleased to see them doing well. I like DMU. I was gutted that they had such a rough time in Div 1 and came down so convincingly. But that was decent. Frankie Pankhurst, what's the deal? So this is Jordan. He calls himself J-Met now because he's he just joined like a freestyle team that go and freestyle battle against other people, and his like tag name, I think he called it, is J-Met. So yeah, I don't know if you knew that about him, but he's like quite good at freestyling. But yeah, what he was saying, Jordan, was what happened with your 0-0 yesterday? Give us some insight. Behave yourself. I did completely just make all of that up.
If you can hear me, I'm going to refresh my phone because that call has messed up my thing.
Okay, cool. I'll keep talking. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Jordan, just explain a little bit, like in your own words, what happened in the game yesterday. Russ has asked me if I'm going to watch the Cheetahs versus the Knights. I don't know when it is, but I my aim this season is to play again for the Thrashers. So if that happens, which is hinging on a couple of things, one, me being ready, and two, I've got my missus is about to have another baby, so sort of we'll have 3 boys, and we've just got to sort of see how that works out. But yeah, if I end up playing, the answer's no. If I don't, that's probably a game I'd come to because I'm sort of in that area. I live in Bracknell, so like those sort of games I would travel to, particularly in the summer. I almost went to the game yesterday, Hertfordshire Royal Holloway, but I was like, it's freezing, so I'll watch the live streams instead. But I do look and see what games are local to me and get down to them because I love watching it live. Anyway, Tebbs, can we move on?
Yeah, we can. It's just for some reason, like, nobody calls me, and I get a phone call when I'm doing this, and it ruins everything. But back now.
You. Right. So alignments. So I just wanted to talk about that because there was a lot of talk about it, and like I said when I mentioned it earlier, apparently the under-19s are sort of up in arms. I literally, like, multiple teams contacted me saying, can you do one of those maps but for the under-19s? And I was like, yeah, just got tons of other stuff to do, like all of the fixture stuff I was expecting all of last week that didn't come out. But once I've done the rest of the fixtures posts, then I'll get back to the maps for the other leagues and the fixtures as well. But yeah, like, so this one was quite interesting. One thing I am doing is putting together, another thing I'm doing is putting together like average distance traveling for away games. And you can see the Prem North, I think the Prem North's likely to come out on top as like the most amount of travel. Yeah. It may be the NFC 1 North because there's 3 teams up in Scotland and 3 in England. So it might average out, but overall. But I think Edinburgh are certainly the team that have the most away travel, as a single team. But as a league overall, it may not be. But I want to look at all of that stuff. So do some like data analysis because I quite enjoy crunching numbers on things. But yeah, so this is the Prem. I think it's quite straightforward. I live right in the middle of that, so I'm quite pleased with it. This is down here is the Thrashers. So if I do anything, the away games will be nice and close for me. Right. Let me just move on to the NFC 1. Sorry, the Division 1. And you can see that's what I was talking about. So you've got 3 in England, but one's on Borders, which is the Newcastle area. And then you've got 3 in Scotland, like Glasgow, and then just outside, I don't know where that is. Let's click it. That's Inverclyde. Yeah, so you can see like that is a vast amount of area to cover, and these 2 teams down here, which I think are York and Lancashire, were pretty pissed off about it. And I don't think anything's going to change, though. I can't see any other alignment. Coming down to NFC 1, pretty standard, pretty good little area. That you can see why these teams probably wanted to both join into that or be part of something there. This was the bit I questioned when I posted about it, and well, this was already picked up by people in comments on social. So this team down here is Sussex. They were in the Wessex division last year which was a makeshift one for the region. But they were grouped together with teams sort of in this area, as you can see me marking up. So the Rushmore Knights, there was Portsmouth, there was Bournemouth. They were all in it, and so were the Sussex Thunder. So it sort of follows that the Sussex Thunder would have been bracketed with those teams again, and surprisingly they weren't. But what's perhaps more surprising is that it goes against logic, because you've got Hertfordshire here, who were close to Wembley, the Hornets, London Blitz, and a little bit further away, but the Essex Spartans. Those teams, that's 5 teams that are fairly close together. And Watford have gone from, potentially having a much shorter distances to travel to fairly sizable difference, like having to go to Wales all of a sudden, right? Like, I can see the logic in what people are saying. Why have Sussex not been included in this group here and Watford not in this one? It seemed illogical. And Coach Ellis from the Sussex Thunder said it wasn't like, I said maybe they suggested it, because I know that when the Thunder created the Thunderbolts, they had a little bit of say as to who they were playing and how they played and stuff last year, and I wondered if it was the same sort of thing. I don't know if Watford kicked off about it. Sorry, I call them Watford. That was their old name. Hertfordshire kicked off about it. It was just a bit weird. But I can see that as a talking point. It makes sense. I don't understand it. What do you think, Ted? I reckon there's backhanders going on. No, I don't. Tebbs, can you hear me? You can't, can you? Am I mute? No, I'm not. Right, let me bring some more people up. Didn't make sense to us, but we're happy to play anyone. Yeah, of course. I think, well, interestingly, I think the Cheetahs are favourites in that division. But they probably would be favourites or thereabouts in the other one as well. Like, they're definitely one of the top teams. Yeah, I knew someone would bring that. Isn't it a simple east-west split? The fairest, though, could be accusations of gerrymandering. Fucking hell. No, well, like I said, my logic is based on historic information, i.e. they were bunched together before, and geographic information for the Hertfordshire Cheetahs. Like, it just seemed a lot more logical. That was what I was saying. I understand there's an east-west split, and they've named the leagues east-west. Like, they named the leagues east-west, but does the name of the league derive logic?
Would it surprise you in the absolute most? Not really, but it's, I've got people who I know who are in Prem North, and it's absolute madness. Like, can't what?
I think his I'm going to get rid of Teb because he's definitely behind. Right, so let's carry on with this. I'll get him to join again. Someone said backhanders in Britball. Stuart said that. Surely not. We questioned it. Shame, we were going to play in the East back in 2019, but it didn't happen either. All right. Certainly see the argument for travel times, though. Yeah. And then Hearts also missing there, who I think is their star running back, which probably was a difference maker for them. Oh, sorry. This is Jordan talking about Uniball Hearts. He threw me there. Let's see what Jordan had to say, actually. He posted quite a big thing. So he said, well, Hearts D-line was pretty... This is about the Royal Holloway versus Hertfordshire Hurricanes game. Hearts D-line was pretty solid. You could put that D-line in Div 1 scene. This is classic stuff. I always hear people say that team would be, could be a Div 1 American team or whatever. Anyway, you could put them in Div 1 senior or Prem side and they'd look the part. Nice compliment. We were missing half a dozen starters due to COVID. Our O only managed to drive on them in the second half. The first half was totally dead. Hearts were in a position for multiple 30-plus yard field goals, but narrowly missed every one, including the final plays of the game. One killed because of a muff snap. One killed because of a muff snap. We expected to lose this one due to the guys we have missing. So we're Oh, it cut off there, Jordan. I assume he says, "We're so happy you wouldn't believe it." And then he's then come on and said, "Hearts also missed who I think is their star running back, which is a difference maker." And he said the same thing again. Cool, Teb. I had to drop you because there was like a delay. Are you presently with me?
Yes, I'm presently with you.
There's a proper delay, but cool. What's going on with this? We need to sort this out for next week. What's going on? Oh, I've been messaged something. Cool, right. So that's those alignments. Let me just quickly show the Div 2. And those ones are fairly straightforward. I don't think anyone can argue with the way Div 2's played out. Yeah, you've got some that are travelling further, but you know, Div 2, there's more teams. You're more likely to have closer travel. So it just sort of makes sense. Obviously, Highland are always going to stitch every team up being, the arse end of nowhere. But everyone else has sort of pretty much got the same sort of travel. And then, I suppose you could say the Cornwall Monarchs, they stretch it out a little bit as well. But yeah, pretty standard stuff for Div 2. I can't see anyone complaining. Teb, talk to us about the NFL.
Well, what do you mean? Best divisional round I've ever seen, anyway. The Bengals beating the number 1 seed Titans. You had proper actual NFL pundits coming out and saying people have forgotten the Titans. Remember the Titans. They were giving that whole thing. Derrick Henry's back. Does not matter. Bengals, it was to be fair, very evenly sided game. It's been, these whole playoffs has been an issue with referees. In this game there was a interception but it touched the ground, but it was ruled, and that interception is very strange. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but again, it came down to.
No, I thought it was a touchdown that was called a touchdown, but the whistle blew.
That was the week before.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was against the Raiders.
I do watch it. I just, it's all in there somewhere. It's just jumbled up.
Yeah, so Burrow threw an interception, but it had touched the ground. There was video evidence of it touching the ground, and it wasn't called an incomplete pass.
Right.
I don't really understand it. And then, obviously, Cowboys just doing Cowboy stuff. Yeah.
Who did the Cowboys have? I did watch the games. I can't remember.
49ers. What was that last week? No, sorry, that was last week. No,
yeah.
Sorry, it's
Didn't the 49ers play Green Bay?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was a game.
Tebbs, you're supposed to be the expert here.
Sorry, mate. It all gets so mixed up. It's because my brain is interfering with the connection. 49ers, Packers. The whole thing was, they replayed the narrative of Rodgers saying that the 49ers were going to regret not drafting him. But coming into that game, he had an 0-3 record.
I remember seeing a clip of him.
They had an 0-3 record against the 49ers in the postseason. It's now 0-4. And that seems like it's probably going to be Rodgers' last game. 49ers are ruining my life as a Dolphins fan because we have their number 1 pick and it just keeps getting worse. And then, LA versus the Buccaneers, which was like probably the Tom Brady, he's always spicy. Matt Stafford's his first divisional round game. They did a real Adam Gase move at the end of the game, played like a blitz coverage, got us dropped straight to Cooper Kupp. They ran to the line.
Cooper Kupp, two massive plays in a row to get him in the field goal range. Yeah,
and that's literally all it took. See you later, Tom Brady. But what's strange for that is the 49ers are the LA Rams' boogeyman team. They can't seem to beat them, and now they've got to beat them to get into the Super Bowl. So I hope you guys like a 49ers Chiefs rematch at the Super Bowl. Then the Bills and the Chiefs, another heartbreaker for the Bills.
Yeah.
I like Josh Allen. I think that they should have done it, but that's just it. Overtime rules. Overtime rules come in.
I didn't catch the end of the game. That one, I was asleep. But I can't avoid it on social media, especially with Gridiron Hub. Everything just pops up about American football. But so I did see it, and I was a bit gutted because you might like Josh Allen, but I like Efe Obada. He got a lot of playing time from what I was watching compared to the previous week. So it's just a bit. I really wanted Efe Obada to win or be on to be on a Super Bowl winning team. To come back to the UK with a Super Bowl ring. That'd just be unreal, and it still could happen. You don't like. I always get worried that he's going to get cut just because he's had that a couple of times already, and he's their third string D lineman. That's probably, he's the only third string D lineman as well. So he's like proper bottom of the pecking order in their D line. So yeah, I don't know. I'd love it if they re-signed him and he had another couple of years there or whatever. But I don't know. We'll see. It just felt like it was a bit, for me watching it, I was like, it's sort of now or never. But I suppose that's unrealistic. I don't know. But I just really, really wanted it for FA, so he got a Super Bowl ring. But fair enough, can't have it your own way.
But that's it for the NFL. Next week it's second to last weekend of football until September. So
no, for the NFL it is, but other leagues roll on, mate.
But that's what I'm talking about. What do you mean? We're going to talk about the USFL? What? We're going to talk about.
I want to talk about Britball, and that brings us in nicely to look at the fixtures. So, no, actually, should we? So we've talked about the alignments, fixtures. Now, I was sort of tipped off by a couple of different people, as I often am, that the fixtures were going to be controversial or shit, basically. And like everyone knows that I'm very vocal about my dislike for a lot of the things that BAFA do. I'm cool about blowing smoke out their ass when they do something good. I want BAFA to prosper. Like I want them to do really well, but they just keep fucking up. And I've got a few different theories of this schedule, the way they look. Have you seen any of the schedules yet, Tebbs?
I've seen the schedule for the Prem North and the division that I'm in, so Div 2 South.
Okay, so let's look at so let's pull up Prem North. Tell me what you think of Prem North.
And by had a look, I do mean literally had a look. I didn't look particularly deep into it.
Don't back out now. Don't back out now. Right, there it is. That's the Prem North.
I'm going to have to zoom in real quick.
What strikes you looking at this?
There's a lot in the middle.
Yeah. So let me sort of. So I'd heard about this, but I didn't know obviously until I saw the fixtures, like what was going to happen. But what you're looking at here is an 18-week schedule, so an 18-week window to play 10 games each for a team, right? Yeah. Normally that window is, I think a normal season is 22, 23 weeks. It's spread out over, so they've brought it down. But then 5 of those weeks, I haven't seen Div 2 or Div 1, but I hear that Div 2 may not have this problem. 5 of those weeks, they can't play games in because of 3 different reasons. One, which is the normal one every year, is the BAFACL convention. For the life of me, will still never understand why they run the BAFACL convention in the middle of the summer and it impacts the season, but fine, they do. Whatever. Like we just went through you just had a massive off season. Why not just run it then in December when there's no Uniball games, there's no senior games, middle of December, nice and easy. Anyway, my simple mind can't get around that one. Then they've added 2 bye weeks, which I don't know that there's ever been universal bye weeks in our sport. I think that's the first time that I've known about it that I can remember. And then they've got 3 GB weekends that are also bye weeks. So you take those original 18 weeks to play 10 games, and it actually squeezes it down for these Premier teams, at least from what I've seen, to 12 weeks to play 10 games. Now, obviously, because of the way it works out, it's not, I think the worst it is here, the worst that I can see is that, like, the Edinburgh Wolves, Edinburgh Wolves, Merseyside Nighthawks, Sandwell Steelers, and Sheffield Giants, if they've got any players that are playing, actually, no, it's all of them, isn't it? Sorry, I was counting the bye week. Actually, every single Prem team have got 4 on the bounce here, because obviously some players will be playing and getting involved in that GB week.
Yeah.
So you go from like 2 on the bounce, or this like 2 on the bounce, break, 1 break, then 4 weeks break, then 2. I just don't get it. I just don't know why they've created this situation, right? Now, I've got a couple of theories though. So one of them is around the fact that I'm certain that the people that run the sport have no idea about the sport. They've never played it or been involved in it, right? So, the famous Cricket Pete, and everyone always says the CEO cares more about cricket than he does about our sport. And yeah, he doesn't understand the sport. This is his first full proper season, because obviously we've had COVID, and he decides to shorten it, adds in these GB weeks. I don't know the GB schedule, so I can't speak to how necessary or unnecessary they are. I do want there to be a successful GB program, right? So, but it just doesn't make sense to me that they've added 3 bye weeks for GB and then just 2 other additional bye weeks, and it clusters everything together. I just don't get it. But the other, so one is that they just don't know what they're doing, and people have contacted me expressing like injuries are going to just be through the roof. Teams are going to be massively impacted by players that are fatigued, and then pick up injuries, and before you know it, the season's over, right? The other thing that I think is like interesting, or another angle to look at it is, I suppose there's two schools of thought. One is, are they just trying to squeeze the season down because they hate running it? Like it's such a pain in the ass for them, and they're just minimizing the amount of active weekends, because most of the workforce for BAFA are volunteers. From if I'm right, there are 3 paid roles there, which is the CEO, the operations person, which is basically listed as like a CEO's responsibilities, and I think there was a 3rd role recently that was paid, a marketing one, but I might be wrong with that. But still, like I suppose it makes sense if you've got some of the problems that Pete would have running a largely volunteered focus workforce, trying to squeeze it out. I'm not saying it's the right decision, because that's what I'm saying. Like, he's taken that problem and and created a potential safety and participation issue in the sport, in my opinion. Now, I say in my opinion because we don't know that that's true until it all, we need to see how it all comes out in the wash. There was also talk of them playing more Saturday games, but I've only done the Prem North and Prem South at the moment. Prem South's very similar, by the way, in terms of clustering. And I haven't seen any Saturday games so far, but that may happen that I don't know, there may be like loads of Div 2 games on Saturdays or whatever. I'm not sure. But another issue, another reason for potentially squeezing it down could be completely commercial, right? So think about this from a business perspective. No matter how long this season runs for, you can only take a finite amount of money as BAFA, as in the registration fees for everyone, right? So whether you run the league for 25 weeks, 40 weeks, 10 weeks, it's one registration fee that they get, right? So I think that, thinking this commercially, by squeezing the amount of time that you apply to that revenue stream, you're making a business decision, a commercial decision that you see you get more for your business or for your organization from that spend, from that revenue stream that people are making into your organization. That may be a bit far-fetched, but it was another thing I was sort of chewing my, trying to think of from different motivations what they're trying to do at this, with our national governing body. I just don't understand it. I really don't understand it. The other thing I've noticed is that all Div 2 teams have got 8 games. And some of those Div 2 teams have only got 3 other opponents in their division. So they'll be playing teams 3 times. So 2 teams 3 times. I think that's how it works out. I haven't. Again, I was putting my kids to bed. I then had time to fill these in, and then we started the live stream. So I haven't had time to really absorb it. But it just looks like another misstep for BAFA for me. And another thing, which again, this is speculative, exactly what Russ has just said. So thank you, Russ. He's teed me up beautifully here. So this has been said to me. Hold on, I've still got Uniball. Let's change the banner at the bottom. Oh, it's supposed to be a ticker. Hold on. I've ruined everything here, and Teb.
Well, no. What strikes me is I feel bad for the GB players.
So that's ridiculous. Let me come back to that because I've got other thoughts on that. But let me just go to what Russ has said here with BAFRA. So and this was suggested to me. So I'm not taking this as my insight, but definitely something I want to talk about. Apparently, so you think this is a number of games that used to be spread out over more weeks with no bye weeks, with fewer GB bye week weekends. Yeah, the convention has always stupidly been there, but that's fine. But so what they've had out to do is condense down fewer available weeks, and not enough. And apparently, there's not enough referees to cover every single game. And BAFA, and I don't have any proof of this, but apparently BAFA has suggested to teams, you're going to have your level 1 coaches helping ref games. And if that isn't a recipe for disaster, and if that isn't an indicator of how fucking stupid these people are and how much they do not understand our sport, I don't know what is. And again, this remains to be seen because I'm not talking for an insight. So that's what I don't know. But that causes problems no matter what. So if they do say, the Prem can have 5-6 man crews, Div 2 can just self officiate. Div 2 has got the most number of people paying money into the sport, right? And what, we're going to make them feel like second-rate citizens? Like, that's ridiculous, right? So I don't think you can say the Prem, although I do know that the way that BAFA think at the moment, they are very elitist. They do want the top level to be as good as possible. So maybe that is what they're going to try and suggest. I also know that the refs cover in different regions, right? So there's like a Scottish team or a North Borders team and a Southeast team and all that, right? So, as there are teams, right? There's because and you'll know from playing, you often see the same refs, right? And the same reffing crews when you play over a few years. There's going to be limited coverage, and that's why I thought playing Saturdays was a good idea. I've always advocated for playing Saturday games. It would have maximized, it would have increased the ability for refs to earn more money. I wouldn't mind playing for a team that played on Saturday, so I could have Sunday to rest and then back to work on a Monday. That's cool for me. I understand that the people that run clubs are going to be pulling their hair out because obviously it's probably really difficult to change up at such short notice and get grounds and all that sort of stuff organized. So, but for me, as a player, I was really cool with Saturdays, and I haven't seen any Saturdays. But and again, I haven't gone down through the divisions to see if there are many Saturday games. So maybe that's what they're doing. Saturdays for the lower divisions, Sundays for the Prem. I don't know yet. I haven't looked at it, but that was those are all the sort of points that I was sort of thinking of. I just think like I said, I want BAFA to be really good at what they do. I want them to do our sport justice, and they just don't, and they haven't. And for me, this beggars the question: how much do they have to fuck up before the majority of people have to start turning around and saying, "Have we got the right people involved here?" I don't know where the line is. It just seems they can just do anything. Everything swept under the rug, everything ignored, everything poorly done, and they just get away with it year after year, and structure after structure, people after people. It's just a conveyor belt of just crap people coming through that organization and messing up the sport. But this for me is some of the biggest changes we've seen structurally. And I don't mean alignment. I just mean in terms of cadence of games and the length of the season and the approach to the bye weeks. I don't think there's ever been such big impacting decisions being made in the sport, and I think they're the wrong decisions.
BAFA's one of those organisations where it just seems like there's always an issue. There's always something that could be easily done better, and it's just not. It's simply not done. Simply not done.
I'm just going to get. So I didn't. Oh, where's that come up on there? Oh yeah, sorry, that is right. I just got the Prem South up as well. I didn't want to go into the run of games or anything that any team's having. I know, I usually leave it to the brains to do that sort of stuff. I like looking at structural bits, and I don't mind looking at consecutive weeks playing, but I won't go into this team's better than that team and all that sort of stuff. I'll leave that to our other guys. But as you can see here, just as clustered. But hold on, let me just bring up a couple of more comments, and then I want to throw you a question, Ted. So Stuart said Saturdays tend to be confirmed on League Republic until they can. Oh, not to be confirmed on League Republic until they confirm with BAFA. Okay. And then Calvin has said you have women's football on Saturdays too, player, coaches, tournaments, etc. Yeah. So and I well, interestingly, Calvin, I don't know whether that's a comment for or against it. Are you saying because it clashes, or are you saying, oh well, there are games being played at the moment, it should be possible? But yeah, I know that the contact adult league isn't the only discipline, and isn't they aren't the only people that are paying to play the game and paying BAFA for services, right? I get that, but that's where I play, that's what I know, and that's why where I can get pissed off and talk about, right? I can't really speak to any of the other stuff, but I do take it. I do think you need to take into account the whole of the every single discipline and everyone trying to play the game. But yeah, Ted, I want you to answer that question for me, if you don't mind. How much do an organisation have to do? How much do BAFA have to mess up before people will, the masses will turn around and be like, we need to get rid of these people. We need new blood.
The problem is that BAFA's got a monopoly on it, right? They are the regulatory board, so everyone who
they can be voted out. A lot of the positions can be voted out.
But then, how many regular Britball guys know that?
I don't think it's about how many. Well, know that. I think there's a difference between knowing it and caring about it, right? Yes. I think there's a general apathy towards many of the things that boil my blood, right? And I like to get on my high horse about. I think people just don't really care as much about, and I'm cool with that, right? But I do know that, I think I'm in the minority. I don't think there's enough people that are up in arms. I think the majority of people well, there's games I can play. Yeah, I've got to play a lot. Whatever. I think there's just a general apathy to this massive level of incompetence. But what does it take for that apathy to change? That's what my question is.
Realistically, you look
at letting people know. I don't think it's enough.
You look at people when BAFA took ages to refund them some money. People were kicking off about that, but then it's still okay, the money went in, and then they stopped caring. It's when BAFA takes something away from them, whether it be too much money, or if a season gets cancelled due to silly reasons. That's what it
takes away. So they've taken away the number of available weeks to play the game that they've taken away from Div 2, which I happen to agree with. The number of games they'll play in a season. However, I think Div 2 players should pay a lower registration fee for playing 20% less games.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
So if you're talking about fiscal things here, which you were with your refund example, which I think is
Yeah.
still hilarious because they charged everyone the payment processing fees as well, which was ridiculous. But anyway, if that is something that is financial and it impacts the largest group of players that we have, Division 2 in our sport, and they are basically like they're suffering a 20% worse inflation on their cost to play the game. That's what's happening. So shouldn't they be up in arms?
Honestly,
but they're
Steve,
not. Like
honestly, Steve,
that's what I'm saying.
do you
Like it's
know
not
what I
happening.
think? Do you know what I think it is? Is that it's people just want to play football, and if they just go along with whatever BAFA's doing, they get to play football, and that's enough. That's simply what it is.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like it's me on my high horse, but I think it's that sort of apathy that empowers BAFA. Like if you're not questioning those who govern and regulate you, then they're going to run riot, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Right? But yeah, maybe I'm a bit too political charged and long in the tooth. But I these things really frustrate me. I see this as the sport could be so much better than it is. So much better. Could be run by better people. Could be there could be more of it, more instances. It could be easier to get involved with all that good stuff. And we just don't have the right people that are doing it. And we haven't for a very, very long time. Oh, well, I say for a very long time. I think the last time we had quite competent people involved was like Steve Rains and Clive Dobbins that were doing stuff, but they didn't last long. They were fed up with BAFA's shit because BAFA said they were going to employ a CEO and they both ended up leaving. Like, it's like every time we get someone good who's actually decent and does good things, they're almost like, I don't know, bullied or offended out of the organization.
But yeah, I think that's what it's going to end up as. People just want to play football, and as long as BAFA lets them play football, then
they're cool with it. So do you know what? So I've said this a few times. What I think BAFA need to do is relinquish the control of the leagues to another entity, just like the FA have got the Premier League that run the Premier League, for instance, right? And League One running League One. Like they've got actual organisations that run that for them and run the different leagues for them. That they just govern it. That's what I think BAFA need to do. I think BAFA need to take a step back from the operation and the tactical stuff, fixtures and all that stuff. Still deal with like disciplinaries and transfers and all, whatever a governing body should do, but not be involved in like the day-to-day operational elements of the sport. And I think that's how it moves forward. But I can't see them anytime soon wanting to do that because it would mean a huge reduction in revenue to them because they charge for the league at the moment. Anyway.
Yeah, like they're never going to do anything that relinquishes any sort of power or money at all. Like, why would they?
But then, like, okay, so tell me, right? So you play Uniball and you played Senior Ball, right?
Yes.
So you like year on year, you've paid more money to BAFA than I have because I don't play or don't coach Uniball. Does it not annoy you that they're like not spending the money correctly or like just fucking does that not like
what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Before I started doing stuff Gridiron Hub, BAFA was simply the nameless grey face that sucks some money out of my account, and it means that my coaches won't shout at me and tell me that I have to go and I've not paid. And it's like it's like obviously now joining Gridiron Hub, I can see that BAFA's like sort of legacy of ineptitude is relatively large, but the thing is, it still comes down to, I would love to, protest, like, no, this is rubbish. What you've done here, like, how can I expect an organisation to be ran seriously when, like, they put the team that I play for, who didn't win a game last season, in Div 1, and then then Ooze Valley have to go on damage control and be like, yo, we know what we don't ever go us. We didn't do anything. It's not our fault. and then obviously move us back down. But then again, I can't. I can't if I don't give BAFA their basically tribute. I can't then play football.
Mm.
Like that's it.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's what I mean. Like it does. It can't. I think we've said it a couple of times already, but it's basically apathy. Like people just don't care about it; they just want to play. And it unfortunately it's created a perfect scenario for BAFA for those people that don't want to really do stuff properly. Like so okay. So does it not annoy you? So here's another one. Right, hold on. I'll get back to Dave Francis's statement in a second. Does it not annoy you that BAFA have used your money to employ a CEO who is on around £50,000 or £60,000 a year plus whatever benefits package you get? He's probably on about 100k of a package, right, in total ish. For 2 days or 2 or 3, I think he's 3 days a week he works, and I don't think they're full days. That in itself annoying, but the guy hasn't actually brought in any money to the sport yet. New money. Does that not annoy you, like as someone that pays into this thing?
Well, yes, but like obviously,
fucking drives me insane.
But it's like you're only telling me about this now, but then it's sort of like it's the culture of like
it's a CEO's job. The CEO's job of any company is to ensure
people don't
understand
stream. What BAFA does. People don't understand what BAFA does apart from I pay it. I can play football. That is it. That's it. Like I can guarantee, if you went to like a new Uniball student or a rookie who's just joined whatever team, and you say, "Okay, what does BAFA do? I pay my subs to them, or I pay this fee." Okay, what else? Imagine if you went to like a year 3 person, like they probably would go, like, "What does BAFA do? Well, I pay them this, and then I get to play football."
Yeah.
You go to someone who's maybe like year 7 of their career, they might go, "Oh yeah, okay, BAFA do this, this, and this." It's because people don't know what BAFA does. That's another problem. So, like, I don't know what BAFA do apart from obviously being a Gridiron Hub. I know now more what BAFA does, but I'm sure that there's 100 more things. I'm sure there's 100 more things that I don't know that they do. So, like, I don't know what my money's not being spent on.
Yeah, well, like for me, like so, I know quite a lot about how businesses are structured and how it works, and like, a CEO, their main job is cash flow, right? Money in and money out, and understanding how the business operates. And I've seen more money out, more money being spent, and less money coming in, and no additional revenue streams. So the revenue streams we've got, which are money coming in from memberships, essentially, have dropped because fewer people play in, but also they froze some of the fees, which was the right thing to do. But like, so if I was on the board or as the chair, I'd be saying, okay, so you've been in your job, what, 18 months now, a little bit longer than that. We're paying you 50k, or you're on a 100k package or 80k package or whatever it is. How much have you brought in? I would have expected the board to say to the CEO when they were coming in, "You're coming in on this salary. We expect you to bring in new revenue streams to the tune of $250,000 in the next 24 months." I just don't understand what that person's doing. It just sounds like it keeps going on about a 10-year plan, which so fucking what? What about a 1-year plan? What about a 2-year plan? What about just getting something done properly? What about just getting the fixtures in a good, in a really nice way? The guy's looking like multiple years into the future and talking blue sky, and just doing nothing to impact and improve the way that the coaches coach, the players play, the whole Britball, the whole sport actually runs. It's just a nonsense, and I just don't know where the value is. Like if they were like slick and everything that already existed is running better than ever, you're like, yeah, there's an improvement. There's not been. It's actually got worse.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, if it brought in, this is the value. This is the value. Is you pay us or you don't play. That's the value.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong. I feel like BAFA's holding the ability to play football in England basically hostage. And that's all it is.
Yeah, you're right. Well, let's see what Dave said. So he says, referencing BAFA sorting themselves out, it probably depends on how many teams it impacts. When it's a small minority, it will get drowned out by other teams that are not impacted. Yeah, absolutely, with that whole apathy thing and just want to play. Once something happens that causes every team the same shit, then the majority will force BAFA. So do you know what? This might be the catalyst, Dave, like this whole referees thing, because maybe that will start, imagine like you're a coach and you've got 3 level 1 referee coaches refereeing your game from another team, and they're not calling stuff, and one of your players gets injured. Like you're going to have a strong reaction to that, and maybe that needs to happen. I'm not saying I want people to be injured, but maybe we need to see the fruits of these bad decisions to a certain degree before people actually start going, yeah, maybe. So maybe to answer the question, that's what it'll take. Is something like David said, something that is so catastrophically bad that like there's a majority of people that move past this point of apathy to like, right, time to say goodbye, mate, but anyway, right, I think we're done. I said to my missus I'll be an hour, and obviously we're longer than that. She's used to me taking longer. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we go? She's a lucky woman. Anything you wanted to say before we go?
No, I'm happy. I'm happy. All this Uniball stuff. I've got one more thing.
Cool.
Yeah, mate. Just Lincoln DMU. Be a good game. I beg. That's all I want.
Is that this
I'm not
weekend?
going to talk rubbish on DMU. I'm not going to talk about Colonials, but just be a good game, for God's sake.
I think Lincoln are going to get folded by DMU.
Oh, well, I think you're going to get folded by my right hook, Steve, if you keep up those words.
Yeah, all right, then. We didn't go through the fixtures, but maybe another time. We had too much other stuff to talk about today, but it's lovely catching up with you, Tebbs. Are you back for good on the show? I'm going to ask you live. Are you staying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it depends if my internet holds up. It'll be amazing.
I was going to say, I've got one condition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. Those that watched.
Get some internet from the 19. Don't have an internet from the 1970s is what I need to do.
Go to the corner shop and fill up your internet card. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
So I wish it weren't like that. But anyway, thank you guys for watching the rundown. This was good fun. As always, I've got to ramble, and I'll probably be back next week. We do need to find a better co-host than me for Tebbs though. And with Dom going through the transition, it's probably.
I might ask Dom because to be fair, I might ask Dom because.
It's a Monday night. Surely you can do it. Or
no. Because the other one.
What's his name? Your other mate.
Maris.
His name's Maris. Yeah. What about Maris?
Well, no. I'll just ask Dom because like Dom's problem wasn't it was a Monday night. It was because I was potentially not going to do the show, but now I'm back doing the show. But I only found out I was back doing the show about 6 hours ago. So
yeah, because Tebb's gone big time now. He's got a job. He's got an internship.
Oh, shut up.
Literally, I'll get you to talk about it next week. Right. So,
no, please don't. I can't talk about it. Please, I'm not going to talk about it.
No, we're done. See you later, Tebbs.
Fucking bastard.